Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I hope you all are doing well. This is Akash Agarwal here. I'm one of the mentors and strategy experts at e-GMAT. So before we actually begin the session, it would be great if you guys can give a thumbs up or type a yes in the chat box if you can hear me and see me well. Perfect, perfect. All right, wonderful. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's edition of The Real Success, where we delve into the not so talked about struggles and achievements of the common misconceptions that GMAT test takers and MBA applicants tend to have. Today, we are joined by Jagdish. Hi Jagdish. First of all, congratulations, Jagdish. So, for everyone who does not know Jagdish, Jagdish is one of our students who scored a phenomenal 740 on the GMAT, and then with less than 24 months of experience, went to bag and admit at ISB Hyderabad by utilizing the early entry option. Now he's here to give back to the community and talk about his journey from start to finish, all the way from preparing for the GMAT to getting admitted to his next steps, what he will be doing after receiving the admission. So, with that, Jagdish, welcome to the session. And why don't you just give a brief introduction about yourself?
Good evening, Akash. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for such a glowing introduction. As Akash mentioned, my name is Jagdish Kumar Khadenga. I am from Bhubaneswar, Odisha. I've done my schooling from Devi Public School Unit in Odisha itself. I've done my bachelor's in electrical engineering. And after my bachelor's, I joined as a graduate engineering trainee in sales and manufacturing profile. After 1 year into that position, I was promoted to assistant manager, and I've been doing that for like 1 year and 6 months, to be very precise. And after I wrote my GMAT on the 2nd of December, uh, then I applied for ISB in round two, and I got admitted in round two itself. So that's all about me.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Jagdish, for a brief introduction. So let's get right into your GMAT preparation first of all. Okay. So let's delve deeper into how you prepared for your GMAT 740. Okay. So some of our viewers have already witnessed your GMAT success interview with us that happened a month ago on our channel. But today we meet again to celebrate your admit into the ISB. But before we move into your ISB application journey, let us discuss a little bit about your GMAT journey for our viewers. So, why don't you just talk a little bit about your GMAT journey?
See, the thought of taking a GMAT really came to me early during the days of my college. I was really interested in what the GMAT was and how the things function, going abroad for studies, etc.
Mhm.
Uh, I really started like seriously preparing for GMAT in during the pandemic, but again that was on and off. I took the e-GMAT session. I remember like teacher Payal, Rajat, and a lot of faculties coming in doing the videos for on YouTube for GMAT Club. I saw that, and that was my first interaction ever with e-GMAT. However,
Right.
before that, I had taken some mocks. I had taken the diagnostic test. I got a
Mm-hmm.
670 around, and see after that, I saw that 670 is a very good decent score to start with, and I started
Right.
like just like any average test taker would, just like practicing on and on questions, maybe improving my speed, improving this that.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end of the day, it did not really help. I mean, my scores were again fluctuating. So I said, okay, let's try something else. I tried GMAT Club. So I was very devotionally, I was into the videos. I watched each and every video GMAT Club put in. It was like maybe it be
Right.
Charles, GMAT, e-GMAT, and even other test companies. I watched every video like till depth, did every question, this, that, and all.
Right.
And over that, I saw
Mm-hmm.
my score improve from a 670 to a 710, 720, around that. But at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, I felt that I could not really go past it because
Mm-hmm.
there was no proper method. There was no proper sequential method. Okay, do this after do that. It was really a haphazard preparation. So as a result
Right.
of this, on February, as you might know, I came to e-GMAT. I went for the
Yes.
365 program you have, and basically this decision was driven by the fact that the methodologies and the techniques you people taught was something that really was, is completely
Mm-hmm.
counterintuitive. I have previously mentioned, spending time with the question, trying to understand what the meaning of the question is, and all that. It's really
Right.
in a test-taking atmosphere. It's not something you do. It's basically read the question, go to the options, eliminate, 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 find the answer, move on.
Yeah.
But it's something I really enjoyed about the process. I enjoyed the journey. So I
Mm-hmm.
chose e-GMAT, and in the course, what I found was it was basically teaching you from the very beginning. For example,
Mm-hmm.
fractions. I mean, you guys started with what is a numerator, what is a denominator. I mean, you do not expect to start from such
Yeah.
basics. I mean,
Yeah.
but the thing behind that was during the whole teaching thing, you were accustoming me to the process. What the process was, how I should think, and so for my journey personally, it was basically revamping my processes and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that it was not something wrong in me, but in the processes I used. As a result
Right.
of this, I could not get that elite score. However,
Mm-hmm.
for after I went to the e-GMAT, I saw the processes. I followed them to the very beginning to the very end. I found that okay. Then my score evolved. After that, see, you can take tests, you can go for test prep companies, but nothing really prepares you for that real life experience. I mean, I really took a
Mm-hmm.
lot of mocks. I even took the MBA.com mocks, everything. I got good
Mm-hmm.
scores in them as well.
Yeah.
But on the test taping day, I remember I go in front of the computer. I start the exam, and the very first
Yeah.
question, my marker stops working. So
Okay.
that was horrible. I remember the time then. I
Yeah.
panic. I call the teacher, give me another marker. It's like 1 minute gone. So it's really like
Yeah.
to understand and to be very calm. The whole thing to succeed in the GMAT thing is to be very calm, be very composed. Don't get ahead of yourself. I remember talking to a
Mm-hmm.
friend actually, and he gave me just like
Mm-hmm.
perfect advice that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people in life or in the GMAT, what they do is they think about the outcomes, what the GMAT will take you to, or
Mm-hmm.
what is this question, what is the difficulty level of a question. And I remember even like the GMAT folks talking about it. Don't think about the difficulty of a question. Is it a 670 or is it 750? What is the next
Right.
question going to be like? Did I do correct in the previous question? You don't need to connect those dots in a GMAT exam. It's really about
Yeah.
living in the moment, seeing the question, taking it and doing it to the best of your capabilities. See, this were all the learnings from my experience, like the GMAT experience,
Mm-hmm.
and somewhere I feel that these are learnings you can really apply to your own life as well. You do not get ahead of
Right.
yourself. You live in the present. You work. You give your best in the present, and the rest of the things will really sort themselves out. So that
Yeah.
was like my whole GMAT experience summed up.
Right, perfect. No, one thing you really said perfectly, right? That you should not actually carry the baggage of the previous questions to the next
Of
question.
course.
Attempt
Yes.
every question on its own merit and let the algorithm do its work. You just trust on your own processes and your applications that you have learned from the past like 3, 4, 6 months or something like that. And just trust your processes and you will do well in the final exam. No, perfectly well said.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, I see a lot of times. I mean, even I have been like fallen into this. You're giving a mock and you're thinking, okay, is this question easier than the previous one? Oh my God, why did I get an easier question?
Yeah.
What does this mean? These are some things. It's like it puts you down a rabbit hole and just wasting time, nothing else. So you
Yes,
should
yes,
actually control things that you can control, and
yeah,
the rest of the things will sort themselves out. I'm sure.
yes, perfect, perfect. So I know because I have been your mentor throughout your GMAT journey that
Yes.
you have put in a lot of effort into your preparation, right?
Yes.
But I also know that for the initial like about 8 or 9 months or so, your score actually plateaued, right? You were not moving ahead of 700, 710s. You were constantly scoring about 700, 710, which is also a very good score. It's still a 90th percentile score
Yeah.
approximately. However, that was not your target, right? And I
Yeah.
still remember when I took you into our last mile push program in the month of like October last week or so, and then
Yes.
we actually started gaining the improvement because I started getting in touch with you on a constant basis. So like tell, like according to you, okay, what were the reasons for those initial 8 months that your score was actually plateauing at 700, 710, And then what exactly did you change into your approach to get to your 740 score? How did you overcome that score plateau?
Got it. See, the first thing is, as I already mentioned the previous question, the very
Mm-hmm.
the difference to go from a 670 or a 500 to a 670 or 700 is not that tough. But the problem
Mm-hmm.
really arises when you're trying to go for a 700 from a 710 to a 750 plus. That thing is completely different. The processes you need to do, whatever the processes that are completely different, you have to be very
Mm-hmm.
methodical. That is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for my score plateauing was basically because I really found it very hard to let my the methods I had developed go. You know, because you have put in a lot of effort, you have practiced this, that, and
Right.
all of a sudden, if you're telling me to let go of these methods, let's start afresh. You know, this it's
Yes.
you're putting me in a whole new journey that is a long journey. I mean, it's like a 2 3 months journey, and I personally found it for the initial months very hard to let things go. See, for example, I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you some examples.
Yeah.
Uh, quant was something I was good at, I was okay at. So what I used to do was, if I found an easier quant question, I used to just do it
Mm-hmm.
mentally.
Yeah.
Now, this is, I feel, a very big mistake, a cardinal mistake every like students make.
Mm-hmm.
I over the e-GMAT, I learned that no matter how easy a question is, just put it on
Right.
paper, write it, so that in case if the GMAT tries to trick you, you are not tricked. You know, put
Right.
everything on paper. So that is something I really did. No matter how easy
Mm-hmm.
the question was, I developed this
Mm-hmm.
habit of writing on paper, solving it to the very end, seeing what the question is actually asked, and then selecting the answer. So being
Mm-hmm.
very cautious in the one section. Verbal was a completely different story. I was like, I really was bad at
Right.
verbal. So again, it was because of my processes. For example,
Mm-hmm.
reading comprehension. What I used to do was, okay, so go for the question. What is the question asked? This, I'll just find it. No, this is the thing that we are really taught in school to the way up.
Yeah.
However, on e-GMAT, I learned that it is okay to read the passage, give the due
Mm-hmm.
time to the passage. And
Right.
another thing challenge that really came was, if you really give time to the passage on the first question, you are really spending a good 2.5 and 3 minutes, which actually you
Mm-hmm.
cannot do. So
Right.
over time, there's this self doubt always coming. You're spending a lot of time. Oh my God, am I overthinking on it? But the whole thing or the whole secret was, if you spend that 2.5 minutes or a 3 minute on the passage, okay, the first question you're taking a 3 minutes, but on the three and the four
Mm-hmm.
upcoming questions, you can do it on like 30 second, 45 second. There you save time. These
Yeah.
are really small things you fail to realize when you are reading the methodologies they're telling or you're hearing people tell. But once you
Mm-hmm.
experience it, it really brings about a change. The
Mm-hmm.
impact I'll tell you of that was, initially, when I used to give mocks, I used to really guess on my fourth reading comprehension. I was just like, you know what, I had really have 2 3 minutes left. I'd better go for a SC or a CR question, just guess on my reading comprehensions.
Right.
However, during the test day, I remember I finished the exam with like 2 minutes remaining. That's really a big thing for someone who started out with, there's not enough time to spending it with to completing the exam with 2 minutes remaining. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one change. Another for the SC also, if we talk, it was really
Mm-hmm.
about my previous idea was, okay, read the question. Now you have to eliminate, go for the options. Now
Mm-hmm.
again, how what it transformed into was, read the question, understand what the question is telling you, understand the meaning, what is the author trying
Right.
to convey, then go for the answers. Now that small change really saves you like 30 40 seconds for every
Right.
question, and on the long run, it really saves you like what 2 3 4 minutes. It's a big thing. It's the whole process of e-GMAT is putting in those small tiny changes, which in the beginning will be like tough. You do not understand the logic behind those changes,
Yeah.
but over time, if you practice them and you like follow the process to the P, you will see the difference. And personally, I've seen the difference. That is why I'm championing the cause. For
Right.
CR again as well, it was really about the pre-thinking. Seeing
Mm-hmm.
what the thing is, where the gaps are, am I reading it correctly? All those tiny tiny things, it really helped
Mm-hmm.
me in the process. And these are the small habits that I developed, and over the
Mm-hmm.
time, these really brought about the changes. Now, talking about the
Right.
last mile push program, the LMP,
Mm-hmm.
it was more of like targeted practice. You have, okay,
Yeah.
you have done it, you're getting a score, but let's see where is it that you are exactly faltering, and you just plug
Mm-hmm.
in those gaps. So it's and there were even diagnostics and metrics you were showing me, like, okay, this is where you have done a mistake, why is that,
Mm-hmm.
and really discussing with your mentor, okay, why was this mistake done, and really
Right.
understanding what was the mistake, why was the mistake done, and how can you not do it in the testing. So the LM thing was helped me in that manner. But the processes that I had set up during those 8, or but not per se 8, for 5 months,
Yeah.
was really what changed me. Changed the process to a 710 to a 740. I feel.
Yeah. No, well said. Definitely. I still remember the day, like when you started doing the meaning based approach. We had a conversation that you were saying that, Akash, it's taking me more time to solve these
Yeah.
questions. What's the use of this approach now? And I was saying to you, okay, fine. It's just the initial days. Let it take more time. Absorb the process. Let it become a second nature to you. And I'm sure that you will then solve even the hardest of the questions in like about 1 minute, 15 seconds, 1 minute, 30 seconds or so, and then you actually started doing all of that. So definitely, it was a journey to
See,
remember.
the good thing about the meaning-based approach is, I mean, I think it's not only my story. Every student going for the e-GMAT might relate. Is in the hardest or the most cruel thing about GMAT sentence correction is they give you 5 options. You can easily eliminate three, and you're
Yeah,
stuck between the two,
yeah.
and then it's really about guessing. You go. Okay, if you're lucky, you choose the right one, you move on. And if you are unlucky, you choose the
Mm-hmm.
wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
But it is due to this meaning thing, that you're really able to understand of why are these answers wrong, not only from the grammar point of view, but also from the meaning point of view. Are they
Yeah,
distorting the meaning? Is there a confusion?
yeah.
Is the sentence clear? So it really
Mm-hmm.
adds a lot of aspects. So if per se your grammar knowledge is limited and you have exhausted everything to eliminate three options only, you can really use the meaning based approach to eliminate one of the remaining two, so you can get a correct answer. I feel that was the whole benefit of meaning based approach. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I agree that students who take up this meaning based approach in the beginning might like feel, why are we doing this? It takes, I mean, I felt the same, it takes a lot longer, it takes 2 minutes for a question. But
Mm-hmm.
over time, I'm sure that their views will
Yeah.
change. They will be very fast and answering those questions. It really happened with me, so I'm pretty
Right.
sure they'll do the same.
No, definitely. And I'm sure that many of the test takers who actually stuck at a scope ladder will actually learn a lot from whatever you just said right now. So, having said all of that, okay, so managing work, study, and the applications together is like the toughest thing, okay, for any GMAT aspirant, okay. You did not just balance it, but you actually excelled in all three of them, okay. You're like, I still like you got a promotion, right? Just I think 1 or 2 months before your
Yeah,
GMAT
2 months back.
exam,
Yeah,
right? You got a promotion in your company, and then you managed to actually improve your abilities and get that 740 score on the GMAT exam, and you absolutely killed it in your ISB interviews, and that's why you actually got the admission as well in ISB. So tell us, okay, like how did you manage all three of those things, and how was your experience?
see, it was actually a very unique experience per se. I mean, working hard during the day and then
Yeah.
really managing whatever time you have left on doing, like, either you're studying or you are preparing for the applications. So that was actually a very unique experience. It taught me a lot. Now, as per
Mm-hmm.
preparing for the GMAT is concerned, it was really about understanding, like, it's really about consistency. You cannot prepare
Right.
one day and like leave it the next, and it's really about
Mm-hmm.
dedication. You have to put in the work day in and day out. Now that was
Right.
something that is really tough for every like person who is working, that
Mm-hmm.
putting in that effort every day is not easy. So like they say, okay, I'll not do it today, I'll do it in the weekends. But I really asked
Mm-hmm.
them not to do that. Even just stay in touch. There were days even when I was too tired,
Right.
but
Yeah.
just go to the table and do two RCs. That's not tough. It'll hardly take you 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
Do the RCs proper, read the answers, like why is this, why is that. Just spend your, I mean, do not lose touch. That of coming from someone, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been the person who has lost touch preparing and then put a break and then again try to prepare.
Yeah.
So don't go for that. Prepare in one stretch and keep keep in touch with your studies. You just work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I accept that you will not be able to put in 4 hours every day, and that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
put in 1 hour, put in 2 hours. That's fine. And the
Yes.
most important thing is do not fret. Okay, at the end of the day, it's a test. You take
Yep.
your much needed breaks, you relax, and then you work hard. And I feel that okay, if you put in the effort, you will get your results. Don't worry. I know it is a tough process. There's nothing I say will make it easier for you, but you put in your work, you will get your results. I'm very much sure of that.
Yep.
And for me, it was really about, see, my job is a sales role, so it really involves a lot of traveling, a lot of touring. So it
Mm-hmm.
really used to get tough. So I remember when I used to go to the depths of like those tribal areas, I used to take a book, and
Mm-hmm.
in my hotel, okay, I'll just read some RC, or I'll read a passage. It really, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, reading RC passages were like passing time for me. I was traveling or reading a RC
Yeah.
passage, not per se solving it, just reading it. I
Yep.
mean, the GMAT
Yes.
RCs are really fun. They really have a lot
Yep.
of information. So, kind of that really improved my reading skills. To be
Yeah.
very honest, and
Yeah.
made me very fast in reading. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something I feel that you have to find ways to adapt to whatever time you
Yeah.
have and spend it in the most wise way possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the GMAT part, I feel. And
Mm-hmm.
as per the application part, it's really about introspection. I feel you have to
Right.
really self introspect and understand, like, okay, why is it that you want to do an MBA, or
Right.
why is it this college, or why is it in India itself? I mean, before
Yeah.
convincing to the person sitting in front of you, you need to really convince yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel it's not, you should not do it just because you have to do it for a college.
Mm-hmm.
It is really vital that you understand why have the process is being set up. It's for your
Yeah.
own betterment. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have that clarity. Okay, why do I need to do this? Why should I go for this college? Why should I do that? You need to be
Mm-hmm.
extremely clear with your ideas. That okay. So, for example, I remember I spent a lot of time understanding myself. Okay, what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do. So, the initial 3 to 4 months, or 2 months of my application was actually understanding myself,
Yeah.
preparing, like, okay, if I had to prepare an application in a very short term, what would be my strengths, what would be my weakness, what would I
Mm-hmm.
write my biggest achievement, what would be my biggest failure. So working
Mm-hmm.
on that is really important from the initial days,
Mm-hmm.
because uh, in my personal experience, I really had a very small window to put in the application. I gave in my GMAT late because of prior work commitments. I could not.
Yeah.
So it's really about, once the whole process. What I felt is about self introspection. Once you are
Right.
really dug deep into yourself, you have understood why you want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're really clear on that, the rest of the process is just a cakewalk. I promise you that.
No,
You
definitely.
can convince any person, okay, I want to do an MBA for this reason, I want to go for this college for this reason, that
Right.
it's really easy. But the time that is the process that really takes time is the introspection part, being very clear. You cannot be very confused in the process. Once you're very clear, then only you can succeed, I
Mm-hmm.
feel. So majority of my time was really spent around this, like introspection and
Right.
working. Once the GMAT, I remember time in the October, and I guess you might as well remember. I could not like devote a lot of time to it.
Yeah.
It was really about, I was preparing my applications, I was preparing
Yes.
my for my GMAT. So
Mm-hmm.
I really suggest against that. You
Mm-hmm.
don't go for, like, don't really go for that situation where you have to give a GMAT and then you have a day for to prepare your application and submit it. No, I
Right.
really suggest against it. For people who are trying to, especially for ISB, trying for round one, I suggest that you really start thinking now, start putting up an application. So at the end of the day, the last thing remaining for you will be the GMAT. So you get the score, you just submit. That is the better
Right.
thing, I suggest. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the most important part, I feel, some students miss is, students feel that exam or the GMAT thing is very vital, but it is not that. It really consists of small part of your application.
Yes.
Be sure with your stories. Be
Yeah.
very clear why you want to do an MBA, what for you want to do an MBA, what will you do after an MBA. Be very clear with these questions. Create your application.
Mm-hmm.
Application is more, if like extremely vital from your GMAT. I can promise you that.
Definitely. Definitely. Well said. So I still remember I got your text on the 16th of February, but you actually got the admission news on the 16th of February at 12:36 a.m., right?
Yes,
From
yes, yes.
ISB. So the most important date and time of your life, right? So what was your feeling back then, and like what did you first do when you got the news?
See, I remember the whole. I remember the whole day. It was like extreme panic. It was nerve wracking. I'll be very frank with you on that. Over at GMAT Club, the ISB Adcons, we have a group, the
Mm-hmm.
applicants and all, we had a group. So they tried to lighten the mood, like people were sharing memes left, right, and center, regarding the whole process. So that was really fun, reading memes. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, I had to work that day, so I really
Oh,
switched
okay.
off my GMAT thing. So I had to work. It that again really helped me from really focusing, to just go to the ISB site,
Mm-hmm.
look at the portal, has it been updated, has anything really come. So really, my work really helped me on that
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
not be that nervous about the whole thing.
Right.
However, it my work ended at 7, so I came home and the same thing really hit me. So I spent the rest
Mm-hmm.
of the time like just looking at memes or just sleeping, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I remember getting the notification at that one in the group said the results will be declared for the early entry by 12, and after that.
Mm-hmm.
So then that was like complete panic. I was like extremely panicked. I was just sitting on my bed and refreshing like mad. Is the update there? Is the update there? So after 12, I really gave up. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just
Yeah.
sleep. And I remember 12:30 and 12:35 ish. I just opened the net. I'll just okay, you know what? I'll just check one more time. So I checked, and the update was there. So at that point,
Yeah.
one part of me was like extremely elated. Okay, yes, I've done it. I've got in.
Yeah.
The other part of me was like, oh my god, I have to go to work tomorrow. I have to go on tour. I have to by 6. What am I doing? As for the first thing I did was actually I went up to my parents like,
Yeah.
"Mommy, Daddy have got in," and they were actually very excited. The first thing was the whole day they had been more nervous than I was. They
Yeah.
kept on calling me. They kept on finding reasons to call me. Have you had your lunch? Like, yes, I have. So have you gotten your result? No, I haven't. They just kept calling me every 2 to 3 hours just to check what
Yeah.
was the thing, what was not. I remember my mother, she refused to go to sleep, I'll wait for the result. I said, no, it's not going to come today. It'll come tomorrow.
Yeah.
You go sleep, I'll let you know. So at 12:36, I remember going up to her and
Right.
saying, what I have got in. And they were pretty excited and they're pretty happy. That was the best part amidst the whole
Yes.
thing for me, that my parents were really, really
Yes.
happy. Especially, I remember
Yes.
my mother. She was like kept on calling. She could not sleep the whole night, just searching about ISB. And the next morning, I wake up. She's telling me, "Do you know ISB does this? ISB does that?" She spent the whole night, reading up on ISB and all.
Yeah.
So that really feeling was really, very important for me and very happy. The best thing amidst the whole process, the GMAT, ISB, whatever,
Yes.
that was the most
Yeah.
important thing for me.
Yeah. So definitely, like the end result actually is not your GMAT score or the ISB admission. It's actually that happiness that comes after
Yeah,
all of that, that relief actually, and the happiness.
yeah.
Definitely.
That is
So
a better way to put it.
definitely. So, Jagdish, you have gotten an admission into ISB now with less than 24 months of work experience, right?
Yes.
Now, the early entry option is made for exactly like young professionals like you, okay, who
Yeah.
have like less than 24 months of work experience and who are looking to secure their seats at ISB. So, tell us, okay, like why was early entry option the right choice for you? Okay, and how did you make the decision to apply via this particular option?
See, the whole thing was I was even not aware when I began prepping that this is also option available. However,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I did was very sure of was ISB was the college I wanted to go in. So every time
Mm-hmm.
there was an event or online event or anything, I used to really go for that. I used to register for that. And
Yeah.
it so happened that I unknowingly registered for a live event that they were doing
Mm-hmm.
here in Bhubaneswar.
Okay.
So I got invited to this hotel where we had a person from the admission committee, Mr. Ketan Tiwari.
Okay.
He was visiting there, and he was gave a very fantastic lecture. And it was during interacting with him that he said, "Okay, how many years of work ex do you have?" So I said,
Mm-hmm.
sir, I only have 1 year. I'll be applying next year. So he's like,
Yeah.
why are you applying next year? Why don't you go for the early entry option? That was my
Yeah.
first time hearing, okay, there is also something called an early entry option.
Yeah.
See, the whole point of this is for people who do not have 2 years of work ex, but feel that
Yeah.
that the application is good enough, uh, and that they can go for a ISB. That's the whole point. It's for is
Mm-hmm.
the process, the deadlines, everything are same to the PGP thing, but only thing that really differs is you have less than 2 years. You're given a
Yes.
conditional offer that before 31st of March the next year, if you complete the 2 years, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to join the cohort. That is the only thing. But the rest of the things are really similar. The processes, the panelists taking the interview
Mm-hmm.
are all the
Mm-hmm.
same. I remember during my interview meeting a person who came for PGP who had more than 2 years of experience. I remember,
Yeah.
especially in the room, in my waiting hall, I had people who all had more experience than me. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like not a lot of difference between
Yeah.
a PGP and a WO candidate in terms of the processes. However,
Yeah.
in terms of the interviews and that is a separate matter. Interviews and the rest is a different
Yes.
matter. But the application process is completely same for each and every person, especially in the WO
Right.
and the PGP.
Right. So definitely, like even when we ask anyone, right, like what do you think? Okay, how many years of work experience do you actually require to get an admission into ISB? Everyone will just say 2 years. Okay. They will not even think, okay, fine, they can actually get deferred admission as well.
Yeah,
And you leverage that option pretty well. And congratulations to you once again for that. So
thank you.
I know that you have put a lot of preparation, okay, into understanding this entire process and the ISB school itself, okay, by attending those webinars, live events, and those talks, right? So, what role did this pre-admissions preparation actually play in your journey? Like, how important was that in your journey? What do you think so?
See, the pre-admission thing is, see, the first of all, there are like two time. I'd like to separate the pre-admission preparation into two parts. First of all,
Okay.
it's really a personal thing. That is, you have to ask yourself, as I previously mentioned, the most important thing of the process is you have to ask yourself, why do you want to do an MBA, or do you want to do an MBA in India itself, or do you want to do an MBA abroad? Which are the
Mm-hmm.
colleges you need to look at? What is it
Mm-hmm.
that really attracts you to them? See, because it is very important to prioritize and really separate out the colleges you are targeting from the plethora of options out there. Like there are like multiple countries, multiple colleges, Ivy leagues, everything, etc. All of
Yeah.
thing is there. You need to really shorten the list, like decrease the pool of colleges you want to, and you need to be very. Once you have done that, I feel it is really
Mm-hmm.
about prioritizing. Okay, and personal choice. Okay, you want to
Yeah.
go for this college, maybe you have a dream for that, I don't know. It's really about that. But the first
Mm-hmm.
thing is, like, rather than getting confused and applying left, right, and center, it's really important to self-reflect, understand what the colleges offer, and why do you want to go for that college. That is the
Right.
first thing that is really important to the
Mm-hmm.
preliminary thing, I feel. So once you have done that, like you have bring out a list of 3 to 4, 5 colleges you want to apply to.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing is reading up on those colleges. What do they offer? Like, what are the after you graduate, what are the options out there? These are the
Yeah.
things you really need to focus on. You need to see what are the requirements, what are the class average of GMAT, or what are the profiles of
Mm-hmm.
students coming in, what do the
Yeah.
alums say. These are the processes I feel you need to do so that you can prioritize over the colleges.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
rest of the thing is application. Now, for me, per
Mm-hmm.
se, it was really, see, when I began preparing for the GMAT, I was very confused. I did not know, should I go for abroad, should I go stay in India, which colleges should I go to.
Yeah.
So I remember one day having a conversation with a very good friend of mine. She was like, you know what, let's just sit together, plan out what is that. We prepare. I remember preparing a flow chart. Okay, you know what, this is
Okay.
me. This is doing an MBA abroad. This is me doing an MBA in India. So what are the
Okay.
benefits? What are the pros and cons per
Yeah.
se?
Okay.
And I found out that personally for me, the doing an MBA for in India was a
Mm-hmm.
better option. And the
Yeah.
next question, but she asked was, okay, which college should we go to?
Okay.
And again, the option, there were a lot many options as, and however the top one is ISB. So you know what, I said, okay, let's try for this one. This is the top one, yeah. And I'm really thankful to her because she was the one that really set out the processes
Yeah.
and helped me when I was extremely confused. And
Right.
I feel that a lot of times which I personally did was not asking people for help. Just
Mm-hmm.
thinking it within yourself. Should I go to this? Doing it in internet research. Sometimes I feel it's okay to reach out to
Yeah.
people who have had
Yeah.
experience, people who are your friends, your colleagues. They can really help you in that process. They can bring a
Yes.
third perspective that really
Mm-hmm.
helps you, really helped me. That is the thing. So that is the
Mm-hmm.
thing how I narrowed down on ISB. So the first thing was then I saw, okay, I researched like, what does ISB give me? It
Mm-hmm.
was a 1 year program. Why not a 2 year program? What is the difference? Why should I go for that or not? It was again a 2 to 3 months of research of seeing what the faculties are,
Mm-hmm.
what are the types of faculties, what are the opportunities of like going outside or you coming in, the
Right.
courses, alum network, and something I must like admit here is that the ISB has a fantastic alum network. I mean,
Yes.
I remember like the process I followed was I went over to LinkedIn, I sent in connection requests to people,
Mm-hmm.
as many people I could find, and I was very lucky to get a reply from a lot of people, especially
Mm-hmm.
two alums. To be very honest, we have in the current cohort we have Abhinav Gupta and Paritosh
Okay.
Dubey, and we
Okay.
have someone by the name Mansi Sachdeva, and they were the ones that really helped me throughout the process. Why should you? Or
Mm-hmm.
what are the benefits? That really helped me understand of the what the college gave them throughout the year, and
Yeah.
what to expect. Now,
Yeah.
once I was very clear of the perspective, there's a perspective you get from the web page, you get from stories, etc. But once you really connect with people who are studying there, you get the reality, and that is something that
Mm-hmm.
helps you take a better decision. So
Yeah.
once I got that understanding, that really helped me to take a very, and I mean, a conscious decision. No, it is something I really enjoy. I like the
Mm-hmm.
challenge, and I choose ISB. So that is
Yeah.
very important. If you're going for a college, don't only depend on your research. Okay, your
Yeah.
research is the primary thing you should do. But
Yeah.
then secondary thing is you connect to people who have been alums who are studying there, to understand the perspective from a very holistic level. That is the
Mm-hmm.
second thing you after that, it's really about things that really call out to you and then choosing the college. So that is about, I feel, the
Right.
pre-admission preparation. To sum up, it's about personal things. You have to personally see
Yeah.
which colleges you want to do. Then you
Mm-hmm.
have to prioritize a college. This college, you have to talk to the alums, you have to talk to the teachers, maybe the people, everyone to get to know your college. And that
Yeah.
will really help you in the process, I feel.
No, definitely. And that flowchart thing definitely is a great perspective to look into.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I'm actually excited to see that after this interview. I'm definitely getting a hold of that flowchart from you. Okay.
It's a
So,
it's really a very simple thing. It's like
yeah,
we are
yeah.
all always taught. This this is me doing an MBA. What are the in abroad? This is me doing
Yeah.
an MBA in India. What are the
Yeah.
pros? What are the
Yeah.
cons? Being very clear. Once you put things on paper, as I've already mentioned, you put
Yes.
things on your paper. The
Yeah.
clarity is always there. You do not forget points. Things are not in the air. Things are
Yeah.
written down, clearly mentioned. So it helps
Yeah.
you. I feel it helped me take a better
No,
decision.
definitely.
So I'm sure it'll help you.
No, no, definitely, because I know you from the personal front as well, okay, because I have been there with you from so many months now. So it will be very interesting to see that were those pros and cons that you looked into while making those flowchart. So that would be a very interesting thing to actually look into that flowchart. So, Jagdish, really well said about your pre-admissions preparation, actually. So, one of the key aspects, actually, about the B school application is actually the letter of recommendations. Okay, and I can see that many of our viewers actually willing to know a lot about that as well. So, the recommender you chose actually plays actually a key part of overall the entire application and allows the AdCom a glimpse into what you bring to the cohort, right? So, how and why did you choose your recommender during your application?
See, the most basic or the most the prerequisite to choosing a recommender is that he must know you in a professional
Mm-hmm.
front every day. He must see you
Mm-hmm.
working, and he must work with you or over you. That's that kind of thing. For me, my recommender. I mean, I have been blessed in that front. To be very honest, my recommender was my manager. He was someone who has really constantly challenged me in my workplace. He has given me the challenging
Mm-hmm.
assignments. And
Right.
but one thing that has really remained constant is that he always has my back, no matter how the terrible situation is or how bad have I messed up. He always has my back. He works with me. We have developed this very good relationship in
Mm-hmm.
which we talk to each other. We talk about everything, starting from work, life, to what else are your future plannings, and etc. So I've been very lucky to receive a manager who has been that supportive throughout my MBA journey. We
Mm-hmm.
have tackled tough projects, big achievements, etc. We have done a lot of big things together. So that is something that really, once the LOR came in, I was not really concerned because I knew I'll give it to him. He's the guy for me. However, I am very sure that there are situations or there are workplaces where you cannot go to your manager,
Mm-hmm.
and the best thing to do that is go and for that is to go for an external stakeholder with whom you have worked every day. You know, the thing
Okay.
that I feel colleges look into, that's again my personal opinion, is that
Mm-hmm.
how well the recommender knows you, and
Mm-hmm.
how do you perceive yourself versus how does the person you recommend who recommends you perceives you. You know, they just
Yeah.
match that.
Yeah.
So it's really important to to choose a person, you know, who works with you day in and day out. So
Mm-hmm.
he knows you on the personal level, he knows you on the professional level, how well or what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. But you cannot choose a recommended slightly, you know, because he will not be able to answer the questions on like your weaknesses. Even if it
Yeah.
does, even if it brings in some general answers, he'll not be able to substantiate that with stories. I feel in
Yes.
the whole application process, it's what is important is to bring out stories, to give you examples of why
Yeah.
I feel this is there. You know, you have to substantiate everything. You cannot just write,
Yes.
you know, my strength is that I'm methodical. Full stop. You cannot do that. You have to substantiate with your stories. You know, so
Right.
that is really important. And it's I mean, you have to be very honest with your recommender, why you're doing this and what else. You have to give him
Mm-hmm.
the entire information and then go for it. uh, that's all I feel is important. You have to if
Mm-hmm.
your manager is not supportive of that, or you do not want to share that information of going to an MBA to your direct manager,
Yeah.
go for external stakeholder. For example, stakeholder can be a customer. You know, if you're
Yeah.
in my sales side, it can be a customer, it can be a dealer who works with you,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, that kind of
Yeah.
person. I feel is a good recommender.
Yeah, for actually whom you actually went like a long mile as well. Actually, for those customers, they would have a great story to actually let the admission panels know about you over there. So,
Of
like,
course.
yeah. So, what will be your advice to the young professionals that how can they ensure from the day one that they are taking the right steps to get a proper good recommendation?
See, first of all, what is very vital is to understand your work environment.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot just walk up to somebody and ask, you know what, I'm going for an MBA, give me a LOR. You know, you
Yeah.
cannot do that. You have to really understand the work environment, the work dynamics, how are things there, how is it perceived. You have to understand that is the first thing. You have to understand the work environment, that work dynamics. The second
Yes.
thing is you have to understand the person who is going to give you the recommendation. You have
Mm-hmm.
to see how he perceives you, or is he a is he a person of how is he going to you know, put you up for the whole thing
Yeah.
in the admission process. You know, you
Yeah.
have to be like that. You have to really assess the person. Is he a good manager? Is he managing you properly, or does he know you on the professional level? Is
Mm-hmm.
that, if the answer
Yeah.
is yes, then that's okay. You can choose him.
Mm-hmm.
But again, then again, there are a lot of challenges. I mean, I have seen my friends really struggle for a LOR. So they go to
Mm-hmm.
customers, they go to like, some people really jump across from the manager and go to the higher manager. You know, that is also something you can do. The most important thing is understanding your work environment and
Mm-hmm.
finding a suitable person who has a mentality of helping you and giving a
Yeah.
good recommendation. Just don't just go and ask to anybody. I don't think that's the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Choose a person who will be able to depict you in a proper way, you know, very honest
Mm-hmm.
and objective way. That is important.
Right. Right. So, would you say that networking is actually the key as well in your work environment? That you should actually look to build good relations and networks with your
100%.
peers and colleagues?
See, you cannot get a LOR from peers. That is one thing.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to network. You have to work hard so that
Yeah.
you build that perception. Okay, he's a hard worker. You have to meet your managers. You have to be very frank with your managers and each and every person over there, so that
Mm-hmm.
it is due to by this networking that you understand them. You know them in a much more personal, a better way, so
Mm-hmm.
that the day when you ask a recommendation, it's not of all of a sudden. They understand that this person is ambitious, he wants to do this, that's why I'll go and recommend him. Just don't put it all of a sudden from him. Understand the mentality of a person, and
Mm-hmm.
as you just said, networking is the key. By
Yeah.
networking, you'll
Yeah.
find the right guy, I'm pretty sure.
Perfect, perfect. I'm sure the viewers will now be able to get the recommendation much more easily and in a proper, efficient manner as well. So now let's come into your essays. Okay, so now every year, okay, almost every year, ISB has like two essay questions. So the first one is like about one's personal and professional qualities with examples demonstrating them, and the second one is about one's career's goals, right? So you must have also gone through many iterations of your essays in your entire application journey. So tell us that what did you want as the final output of the essay to reflect, and how did your essays actually improve and change from one edit to the other?
The whole essay process, how I started out with was, see, for the first thing I began was writing, just putting stuff on paper, uh, taking on, take having that 400 word limit. They have this dreaded 400 word limit. Uh, See, however, over time I realized that my entire process is wrong. The right thing to do, which I have realized or which I have understood, is just forget the word limit. Just give yourself a set of questions, just as I mentioned, like what is your strength, what is your weakness, what is your
Mm-hmm.
biggest achievement in your life, what is your biggest professional achievement, what is your biggest failure, what is it that you want to do apart from work, what are your passions, what are your hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
why do you have those hobbies, why do you like them, what is it that you like about them. You need to ask
Right.
yourself these kind of questions, put them on
Mm-hmm.
paper. So this is something, the preliminary step, which I also followed. I set out a set of questions. I had my mentor with me during the entire process. He helped me put things on paper. So the first thing was I took those questions. He helped me prepare this set of questions. I took those questions. I remember writing like about 2,500 words. Like the whole thing, I
Okay.
answered in 2,500 words. Like, he said, just
Right.
don't worry about the word limit. Just keep writing till your heart is full. Just
Okay.
write. I did that, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was really about sitting with him, understanding. Okay, what do we need to do? How can we, shorten the things? How can we put it in a better manner? Then it was really me working on to revamp the whole thing. Okay,
Yeah.
I mentioned something. Is it redundant? Can I make it in a shorter way? Can I be
Yeah.
more clear? Can I be more concise?
Mm-hmm.
Then the iteration. Then you have those answers. Then you work on shortening those answers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you have feel that okay, I have shortened them enough, then it's
Mm-hmm.
about prioritizing. What do I need to put in
Yes.
my application? So
Right.
see, it's really about 400 words. So
Yeah.
anything and everything you put in needs to hit to the point. You cannot put in just the stuff.
Yeah.
You cannot put
Yeah.
in anything and everything in your application. It has to be straight to the point. Be
Mm-hmm.
very clear what you want to put in and why do you want to put in and what quality
Right.
does it affect.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something, again, I had to prioritize. I had three or four things that are made up. I talked with other people. I talked with the alums. I talked with the current class of how can I do it, what should I put in, and all. And taking a lot of their help and all, I finally
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, you know what? I decided on two things. I'll put in this and I'll put in that. Put what
Right.
I think I remember putting two professional things only. I did not
Mm-hmm.
put much personal front. I mentioned some hobbies, but it was really about my professional experience because I felt that this was my strongest point, my professional work.
Mm-hmm.
Then, once you have decided on what values you want to show, it is
Yeah.
really about building the essay over and around that.
Right.
That really makes the process completely easy rather than having a lot of thoughts in your head, writing
Mm-hmm.
and constricting yourself to 400 words, to following the process of having two shortened things you want to mention and then expanding on that. That is really easier than constricting yourself. That was the process
Right.
I followed for the first essay.
Okay.
For the second essay, it was, see, for the second essay, again, as I mentioned, it's really about clarity. You have to
Yeah.
understand why you want to go to the school. I mean, I cannot mention this, stretch this enough, because you have to be very clear. I mean, they really probe you on that. And
Mm-hmm.
if there is even little doubt in your essays that this person is not clear, they will probe you to it during the interviews. You have to be very clear of
Mm-hmm.
why this college, how will it help, and what are the things you want to do right out of college, and how you
Mm-hmm.
plan to achieve them, and what is your long-term goal, and how you plan to achieve that. So you
Right.
really need to have a plan figured out. Not to say that you have to stick with that plan, and somebody is going to ask you why you wrote this thing in your essay, why didn't you follow that? But
Right.
they won't see. The whole thing of ISB, what I felt was the course is of 1 year,
Yeah.
so they don't want people who are confused. They want people who
Yeah.
are very clear what they want, and
Yeah.
they from the day one they are working towards that. That
Right.
clarity, I feel, is really important throughout the whole process. And once you have the
Mm-hmm.
clarity, I feel it is really not that tough, because you mention your short-term goal, you mention your long-term goal, how your short-term and long-term goals connect to your present work experience, and what are the impact you wish to have on society,
Mm-hmm.
or what leadership qualities can you bring to the current roles, or what changes you can bring to the current roles. That is pretty much about the second essay.
Right.
That's I feel was all the effort I put in into my essays.
Yeah.
I feel they
Mm-hmm.
can really.
No, definitely. It's a great process that you have actually shared with everyone. So now coming to interview round. Okay, so the interview panel at ISB consists of members from the admission committees or ISB alumni, right? So it is
Yeah.
often the most grueling part of the application process, as many may deem so. Okay, and it is where your communication skills, your clarity, as you just mentioned, towards your
Yeah.
career goals, and why you're actually choosing your choice of the school like is tested actually over there. But
Yes.
Jagdish, for you, your like the clarity that you had and the self awareness that you had actually helped you ace the interviews. Okay, so how you gained actually that self awareness to reflect your confidence in front of the interview panel.
Okay. See, I'll just share. My interview was my panel consisted of just
Okay.
ISB alums, first thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the grueling thing which most people have this idea is absolutely not true.
Yes.
At least
Yes.
in my experience and with the people I have talked with, it's really conversational. It's like the conversation we are having right now.
Yeah.
It's like you talking to a friend or talking to a colleague. That's like really that, nothing else. They
Mm-hmm.
just want to go in. It's not that they want to put you in a stress situation and see how you perform. They
Yeah.
The whole logic behind this is, if you have been shortlisted for interview, they really love your profile, they really like you. You just have
Mm-hmm.
to go there and show that whatever you have written in your essays or in your application, you're the same person.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to validate that, nothing else. Most people think that it is really tough. Oh my God, what I'm going to do? But I feel this is really easy to validate what you have written in your essays. If you're the same person, it's really
Yeah.
all about understanding of what you want to do and why you want to do it. The
Yeah.
clarity part is extremely vital. uh, in that, you cannot be like confused. The pen really catches off to confusion, or if you do any, if your words are
Mm-hmm.
contradictory, they really catch up on that. They really grill you on that. Okay, that might
Right.
be someone's experience, that they say this is really grilling, but it's not that. It's, I feel, if you're very clear,
Mm-hmm.
if you are very in your head, you are very straightforward. Okay, I will do this, that, and that, and this is because, and why I want to do ISB. Okay, this are the reasons why I want to do ISB. Then it is very easy. You have to be very calm and see. Once you're very clear, the clarity brings in the confidence. As we have already discussed, the
Mm-hmm.
pre-admissions preparation, that is what really brings in the confidence. If you have just haphazardly applied and you have just got in the interview call, then it might be tough that you have to prepare from the beginning and end. But if you're really clear of what you want to do, why you want to do it, and you can take a stand of whatever you have written, then that is
Mm-hmm.
what really matters. You
Right.
cannot be like, you've written something, you cannot take a stand. Be very
Mm-hmm.
thorough of whatever you have written in your application, very single thing, and be very thorough with your background. I remember me from being a with my sales and marketing background, I was asked about like, if you become a CMO, what will you do? Be very
Okay.
thorough with what should you do, and you have to be able to think on your feet as well.
Yeah.
So it has thing like, you have to be imaginative, you have to be creative, but at the same
Yeah.
point you have to be extremely clear of what you want to do, why you want to do it. It's really
Yes.
about clarity and conciseness, and being very prepared to face every situation that might throw at you. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure if you do that, it is a really easy process. It's really
Right.
conversational.
Perfect.
So even my interview was like, I remember going to the panel. My interview, I was the first candidate who was supposed to be interviewed. However, my
Okay.
there was some issues, I guess, with the in the back end, so that my interview was
Okay.
1 hour late. So I had to
Oh,
wait
okay.
on 1 hour. So that really helped ease my nerves as well, from my
Yeah.
personal experience. And you know
Yeah.
what? You walk in, you are nervous, and you wait for 1 hour, and then the nerves are gone. Like, oh my god, what happened? Nothing else. So you walk in. I
Right.
walked into the interview. I remember uh, people, the alums were very helpful. They greeted me with a smile. We talked about like generally about me being a W candidate. I feel they really focus on the work experience I have had, the company I've
Yeah.
worked with, uh, the whole global outlook of the company, etc. So be
Yeah.
very thorough with your work experience as well. Just as I have mentioned, be thorough with every part
Mm-hmm.
of your application. It might be that they
Mm-hmm.
focus uh, on my application. They focus with the work experience thing. They might focus on
Mm-hmm.
goals for you as well. So be thorough with every part. Be very clear and be very concise. You should be ready to defend whatever you have written, and that's, I'm pretty sure, will be enough.
Definitely perfect. So, do you remember, like, was there any particular question that you were asked during your interview wherein you actually got stumbled across, but you managed it very well? Or was there no such question? You were already prepared for everything, whatever they just asked for?
See, I gave an example of the CMO question, right? That
Yeah.
is something I was not very, it's really tough. I have not thought about that.
Yeah.
It was really about, they just threw me that question to me. I was like, okay, what does a CMO do? Okay, this. I knew of what roles and responsibilities were.
Yeah.
See, at every interview, you stumble on questions.
Yeah.
It's really rare that you go to an interview and you answer, everything. There are
Yeah.
questions you stumble on, but you have to
Yeah.
be creative. You have
Yeah.
to, not get nervous. Oh my God, I have not prepared for this question. You have to be very
Mm-hmm.
chill, very calm, think of an answer, improvise, and give that answer. I
Yeah.
remember one experience with me as well. There were some questions I was not really prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were some discrepancies over like, why I want to do this, why I want to do this. However, what really helped me was the panel did not really probe into those questions. So,
Okay.
I spent the last night, I remember going through multiple iterations of that question. How can I make it good? What should I mention? What should I not? So, if
Okay.
you have such questions where you feel that they are not your strong point, don't really fret over them. The panel
Yeah.
might not just go over that.
Yeah.
Other thing that really helped me was, again, see, the best thing about ISB, which I felt, was students and the
Mm-hmm.
alums. I remember reaching out to a student, and he was like, you know what, don't worry. Paritosh is the guy I reached out to, and he was like,
Okay.
don't worry, I'll help you with the interview. He was like, you know what, let's just conduct a mock interview. You know,
Yeah.
he took my interviews, and
Oh, wow.
a lot of things really helped me preparing for the interview part. Especially,
Mm-hmm.
I went for mock interviews with one of the consulting companies. The alums took my interviews, and the final thing was, even I talked with my manager. I feel
Yeah.
that having a conversation with a lot of people really puts in a lot of multiple perspectives, which really helps you
Mm-hmm.
prepare a very good answer for questions which you have doubts on.
Right.
Especially like estimates, or I remember the night before, I just called my manager and like, you know what, ask me any question regarding estimate. So I prepared for a lot of things, but
Okay.
I mean, the interview was pretty simple and pretty fun, to be very honest.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Jagdish, for the entire perspective and the entire journey about your GMAT and your ISB. So now actually comes the most interesting part as well about this entire conversation that we're having. The question. an answer session, okay? Because many of our viewers have a lot of questions regarding their preparation and how they can improve their GMAT score or how they can improve their application. So let's try and read some of the questions from the viewers, and let's try to answer them to the best of our abilities that we can. Okay. So the first question that I'm actually able to read from here is from Rohit Ghosh. Okay. So he's first of all congratulating you, Jagdish, for your success. And it will be helpful if you share a view of your daily routine during your GMAT preparation. And would you suggest to take breaks before exam from your work?
Thank you, Rohit. First of all, my daily routine was basically the whole day, as I mentioned, was really gone for work, right? After that, what you really need to build is have that dedication. You have to train your mind really that
Mm-hmm.
after work, I have to come and I have to sit for the questions. I have to sit for the GMAT. I'll have to prepare. So that is
Mm-hmm.
something that you have to really build on. It I know it is not possible from the day one, from the day word go, it is not possible. But you
Right.
have to like develop those habits. You have to fall into practice. Personally, it was for me was I woke up at 8:30. I used to be at work by 10. Then I used to stay till like 7:38 till my work. I came back home at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
After 8:30 to 10 was like have my dinner, have some fun, so do some YouTube. And then it was like after 10 to 2 a.m. it was really studying, doing the
Mm-hmm.
e-GMAT sessions, and that was my personally was my routine, daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that really varies from person to person. Yeah, so I'd suggest
Right.
skip in the work forget the work time you have. The
Mm-hmm.
rest of the hours, do focus on your GMAT and keep a. It's not like one thing that really people tend to do is from the first day they're like, what, today I'll study 4 5 hours on stretch.
Eight, 10
Don't
hours.
not, yeah. Yeah, I see. I know that because I have been like guilty of doing all those things.
Yeah.
So do not do that. Be Build a very realistic plan. Okay, do not push yourself over the edge. Build a very
Mm-hmm.
realistic plan. uh, Things you can do. Give yourself 2 to 3 hours per day, and I feel that will be enough. Would you suggest to take
Mm-hmm.
breaks? Yeah, personally, it is. I feel it is better to take a break
Mm-hmm.
from work, like for like a day or two before the exam. I think you can take 2 leaves. That's okay. Focus on the exam. And another thing I feel I forgot to mention about the GMAT thing was the GMAT mocks. The very vital thing was
Mm-hmm.
once you've set a test date and test time, really take the mocks on that time. That time.
Yeah.
So, for example, for me, it was about I guess 1 a.m. to 5 p.m. I guess my test time was that. That was my test time. So I took my mocks before exactly at the same time. You have to prepare your brain to peak at that time. So
Yeah.
you do that. So prepare well, and I'm sure you'll do well with.
Right. No, definitely. Everyone, guys, you should actually relive your exam day on your mock day so that your exam day will just look like any other mock for you. Try to
Exactly.
give your mock, if not at the exact same time, but at least like at half an hour to 1 hour, similar to the time. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Perfect. So the next question that we actually have is from Isa. Okay. So, guys, what we do is that we just take up two more questions from the viewers. Okay. So the next question is actually from Isa. So he's saying that I might get laid off if I say I want to do MBA to my manager, as there is high layoffs right now. How can I go about this?
See, you do not prepare for your MBA by telling your manager. I guess you're asking me for the letter of recommendation. As I've just mentioned, you can talk to other stakeholders, external stakeholders, say your customers, and I feel every college has just like a list of person who can recommend you. I'd suggest going over there and looking at the list that your college has.
Yeah.
Does it is it your manager? Is it someone outside from work who can recommend you? Go over that
Mm-hmm.
list, find the person you that suits you to recommend, and
Mm-hmm.
ask for a LOR from that person. I feel And as
Okay.
per the preparation, I feel do not mention if there's such an issue at your workplace. Do not mention that you're preparing
Okay.
for an MBA over at
Yeah.
your job. There's no issue for that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I saw one more point that first of all, do analyze your work environment, okay, whether they actually support the studies of the employees or not, okay. And if you really fret about this, that they might lay you off, as Jagdish just said, like try to go to some external stakeholders, and they will definitely be able to help you. Perfect. All right. So we'll move to the last question of the day, Jagdish. Okay. So this is from Karmanghat Kaveri. Okay. So now to apply in YLP program, with whom we can take LOR, like with whom it will be better to take, we should submit that in round two, right? If you suggest me anything in that, it will be really helpful for me.
See, first of all, as per my limited experience, I'm a W candidate, so I do not know the details of the YLP program, but I'm pretty sure you'll find that over on the ISB website. But
Mm-hmm.
what I've heard from the students or the cohort present is that one you can take from your person you have done a project with. You know, if you're doing a BTech, you must have done your minor or a major project. He's the person I feel who can best recommend you. It may be your teachers, maybe your head of the departments, or some teacher you have really worked close with. See, the whole point of a LOR is basically taking it from a person who has worked with you on a professional or even in the study front, who knows you in and out, who can represent you in front of the college in the best way possible. You need to find that person and ask for LOR from that person. That's it.
Right, perfect. Thank you so much, Jagdish, for those insights. So, actually, before we actually sign off for the day, we actually just got one last question, actually, from Rohit Ghosh again. Okay,
Sure.
so he is asking that it will be really helpful if you share whether you decided about your post MBA career beforehand or decided it during the process of making the application.
See, for me, it was basically beforehand. I mean, I was in the sales and marketing profile, so I had a very clear idea before of what I wanted to do. You know, as I've just mentioned, prior to preparing your application, your pre MBA thing should
Mhm.
be understanding of what you want to do, is what you want to do, which college you want to go to, why you want to go to that college, why you want to do what you want to do. You have to be very clear with that. That is
Mhm.
only how you can be very clear, or you can portray that very clarity to the person in front of you or in the application. You cannot be that, it cannot be that you are not sure of what you want to do and you're putting that in your application. You know, the confusion might come across in the application. So be very
Right.
clear of what you want to do before you prepare the application. That would be my suggestion.
Perfect. Yes, perfect, Jagdish. Thank you so much for all of this. So that actually brings us to the end of the session. And once again, thank you so much, Jagdish, for joining us today and sharing these insights as well with us. And I hope everyone out there today was able to gain some clarity into the admissions process and how you can like take the right steps to get into ISB. So if you're interested in this kind of content, then make sure to keep an eye out for more of such sessions by subscribing to our YouTube channel. So thank you everyone and have a great week ahead. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.